Hi there! Just a quick reminder that the MIDI Goblin Kickstarter campaign is going to be ending on May the 30th at 7:30 a.m. If you haven't backed the project yet, or if you want a MIDI Goblin, still got time to do it. If you have backed the project already, thank you very much. I'm very happy and really excited to get these things out to you guys. There's been a lot of great ideas for it and a lot of positive feedback as well. In this video, I just want to talk about some upgrades and changes I've made to the sequencer. They're pretty interesting. The first minor change that was made is that zeros that were previously in the sequence to indicate that no note was present have been changed to double hyphens. This is because 0 is actually a MIDI note number. The second change that's been made is when a note is present in the sequence, it'll be displayed as an actual musical note rather than hex formatted number letter combo. It's a little bit easier to understand and didn't really take that much effort to implement. The next change to the sequencer is much more significant. It's the ability to actually play back chords in your sequence. To add a chord to your sequence, just navigate to the step that you want to add the chord to, press the override button, and this will bring you to the chord entries screen. Play the chord that you want to be played in the sequence on this screen, and then press confirm. After you've done that, a chord will be indicated in the sequence as a double exclamation mark. If you navigate back to the chord entry screen, you can reset the chord or you can cancel out of the screen, but you'll probably notice that the chord has been reorganized in ascending order, I believe. Anyways, here's what it sounds like. I'm a pretty crappy musician, but you get the point. You can play chords now. Hooray! I've also added 2 new playback modes to the sequencer. First one's called tie. This basically ties together notes that are of the same value if they're played in the same order in the sequence. It's hard to understand, but here's what it looks like and sounds like with it off. And here's what it looks like and sounds like with it on. Hopefully you get the idea. It ties notes of the same value together. I've also added another playback mode called ringout. Ringout works by just not sending note off messages for notes that are being played in the sequence. It sounds like it might be useless, and it sort of is if you're using a polyphonic synth. Here's what it sounds like for a polysynth. But if you're using a polysynth set to mono mode, or if you're using a mono synth, it's actually quite useful. You can get some pretty interesting sounding sequences going with this new playback feature. I was also really busy this month redesigning the MIDI Goblin's PCB. We've got surface mount components now. The buttons are nice and low, rise, and also quieter than the previous ones. And I've changed the potentiometer to a rotary encoder. This opens up a lot of possibilities in the software side of things, such as setting different tempos for different apps. And you might be asking why you would want to do that. Well, it's because you can actually run multiple apps at the same time for MIDI Goblin. I haven't really spoke about this much before because it was kind of buggy, but I think I've got it figured out now. Basically, you can run the sequencer at the same time as the MIDI CC LFO, or ARP note, or arpeggiator, or auto chord. It's pretty useful, it sounds pretty cool. Now, I haven't really worked out how to sync these apps to each other yet for their timing. That seems like it will be a project for down the road, but for now, I thought it'd be a nice feature for everybody to have. I also should mention I haven't done anything with clock sync yet. I haven't touched that. I don't really know much about it, but it seems like it will be very useful for things like the sequencer or arpeggiator or ARP note. And another note regarding the code side of things, the MIDI Goblin source code will be available to everybody in October. It's going to be a lot of work being done in between now and then, getting things nice and presentable for others. The MIDI Goblin source code might be kind of complicated for beginner programmers to jump into. I'm sure real programmers would probably find it pretty stupid simple. I'm not really a programmer by trade. I'm an artist. I work as an illustrator. I've done graphic design, and I've also recently worked on the show Zoki of Planet Ruby. I drew a lot of the backgrounds for that show with a team of much more talented people than I am. I was quite privileged to work on that show. The animation industry is in a little bit of a slump right now, so that's kind of what pushed me to really go ham on the MIDI Goblin project. And it's been keeping me busy in between projects. Anyways, that's it for this video. I just again want to say thank you to all the Kickstarter backers. Definitely making my life a lot easier by doing that. I really appreciate it. If you can share this on social media, if, people out there might find it pretty useful. I'm pretty sure this is actually the only hardware note arpeggiator on the market that works for output note messages. Oberheim made one in the 90s called the Gecko. They don't make that anymore. It didn't have a screen. I also can't think of any hardware patch librarians for user-defined devices. There's some really great software out there though. One is called Controller. Another one's called Touch OSC. Controller works really well with MIDI Goblin for feeding the MIDI Goblin MIDI CC messages as well. So if you're getting a MIDI Goblin, check out Controller if you don't have a MIDI output on your synthesizer. It will be helpful. Or get one of the apps made by Momo. I'm pretty sure they actually made them using Controller. I can't really tell, but those Momo apps, damn, they're good. Real good. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you very much. I'm going to go snuggle with my cats in my bedroom for a little bit, and then I'm going to get back to work.